Hello creative friends, I'm Anastasia and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm transforming my thrifted treasures into one-of-a-kind home decor. Using simple DIY techniques, I'll show you how I give each piece new life and style them to create a cozy, cottage-inspired space you'll love. Let's go! Anytime I'm thrifting, I try to look past the color of objects and really just look at the shape. So I saw this vase for $7.99 and the design is just peeling off and totally isn't savable. But I loved the shape and the size, so it's the perfect subject for a little makeover. I'm giving it a base coat with this matte clamshell spray paint to cover up the existing design and give me a really nice, clean finish to work on. It was so windy outside and more spray paint was getting lost in the wind than was actually landing on the vase, so I'm going to cover it with some warm white acrylic paint just to cover up any existing green that's still showing through. My main inspiration is this magnolia vase. I really like the vintage floral pattern and I love that it's distressed so the terracotta is showing through on the high points. I don't know who started this idea, but I've been seeing everywhere that people are decoupaging paper napkins to vases to give it that floral pattern. So I'm using these gorgeous floral toile napkins from Amazon, and I will link these below for you. Since this is a pretty big vase, I'm cutting out larger sections of my napkins first. And make sure to remove the second layer of the napkin since we'll only need the floral layer. This process overall is really simple and is actually very therapeutic. You just brush on the Mod Podge and then place the paper napkin where you want it to be. And make sure to be generous with the Mod Podge to make sure that all of the edges of the napkin are laid down. I was a little particular with the placement because I wanted a continuous flow of pattern around the vase without any harsh seams. So I took a little extra time to not overlap anything. My method is to start out with bigger pieces of napkin until most of the vase is covered. Then once you're only left with the small gaps in between, cut out the individual flowers to fill them in. I also wrapped the design over the mouth of the vase for a continuous look. And since you can still see that flaking original design inside, I painted the inside white just in case someone happened to look into the vase from above. I'll be trying out this triple thick clear glaze, which will give it a really glossy glazed ceramic finish. You can definitely stop here if you're happy with it, but it was looking a little bit too perfect for my taste, and I like how the magnolia vase is distressed. So I'm using this territorial beige paint on the bottom and bringing it a little bit up the sides to make it appear that it's real terracotta underneath the design. I styled it on my mantle because it's just so girly and sweet and it makes me really happy to see it when I walk by. This is the perfect spring decor, especially with these beautiful allium stems from Target, which I'll link below. If you saw my dining room makeover, you will remember this DIY from that video. A while ago, I picked up these two sconces from the thrift store for $3 each, and I always knew I wanted to DIY them. I'm removing the metal candle holder because that's the only part of these I'll be using. And I headed to Hobby Lobby's wood section to pick out a new backplate. I decided on this oval one, and I grabbed some candles there as well. I made sure to sand down the wood as smooth as I could, then I'm giving it 2 coats of this matte coffee bean spray paint, which is a gorgeous paint by the way, and the coverage is amazing. After figuring out exactly where I wanted them to attach, I'm drilling the holes for the screws using the screw size drill bit. Then I'm using my largest drill bit to drill down into the wood about halfway to create a notch so the screw can sit flush within the wood. I'm also adding a little hook on the back so I can hang it. I want the entire thing to imitate the look of brass, so I'm covering it with antique gold rub and buff. I realized here that the wood grain was showing through and that was not the look, so I went in with some thick brown acrylic paint that did a much better job of covering any texture in the wood. Then I used a sponge to remove the brush strokes. After that, the rub and buff went on so much better. I wanted the candle holders to match exactly, so I followed the same process of spray painting it brown, rub and buffing with antique gold. And don't worry, these are not real brass, they were just brass plated and they were in pretty rough shape visually. I came across this little pedestal side table in Goodwill for just $8.99, and I hardly ever find little drink tables like this, so I decided to get it to see if I could fix it up. Right off the bat, I knew it had some problems, the biggest one being the tabletop. It has cracks and drink circles, and as you can see, it's very warped, so that will definitely not work. It's also quite loose at the bottom where it attaches to the legs. It wasn't super obvious to me how the tabletop was attached, so I resorted to just whacking it with a mallet until I saw some progress, which thankfully I did. It was attached with this little screw-in dowel, so I was able to just screw that right out. And I needed that little round piece on the bottom of the tabletop so that I could attach the new top to it, so I had to pry that off as well. I figured that since the top was attached with a screw dowel, then the bottom probably was too, and that was the case, so I simply screwed that back on really tightly, and that fixed the wobble that it had. I grabbed a 12-inch wood round from Hobby Lobby for my new tabletop. Thank goodness I was able to sand that sticker off because it did not want to budge. I also gave the entire top a really good sand so it was super smooth, and now I'm going in with this walnut gel stain. This is also from Hobby Lobby and was actually only 69 cents. I really wanted to test the quality of this stain on a small project like this because gel stain can sometimes be pretty expensive, and if this works well, then it will be a great go-to for my smaller projects. Overall, it was super forgiving, easy to work with, and went on very evenly. I gave it 2 coats because one coat just wasn't quite as dark as I wanted because I'm trying to match my dining table as close as possible. Now I'm using my tried and true matte clear spray to seal it off. To reassemble the table, I'll be gluing this round attachment piece onto our new tabletop. So after that has dried, I can attach the brand new tabletop to the base, weighing it down with some books until the glue dries. I think it was partially my uneven floors, but the legs were a little bit uneven, so I put a little furniture pad under one of them to balance it out. This project was really fun to do. I learned a lot about how little tables are assembled, and I love that this table can fit into a vintage or traditional style. I hope these DIYs were fun for you to watch, and I hope that something in this video inspires you to jump into some of your own DIY projects. If you plan to try any of these, let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!